I'm State Representative Tom Jones, and I'm here with Dr. Ralph Ellenberger, and he has Ellenberger Chiropractic. And so you're a chiropractor, and so tell me about some of the conditions that you see and people that you help.
Okay, been a chiropractor for 39 and a half years here in Mount Joy, working with the spine. So common things that people come into me for treatment as a chiropractor are headaches, migraines, neck problems, stiff neck, upper back stiffness, lower back pain, sciatic pain. Sciatic pain is the nerve that goes down the back of the lower back, across the buttocks, down to the toes. It actually is part of a group of nerves, 5 nerves, so sometimes it'll end up just affecting one part of the leg, sometimes it'll affect all parts of the leg, sometimes it will be more pain. You have pain nerves, hot nerves, cold nerves, muscle nerves, circulation nerves. Each one is a separate individual nerve fiber within the trunk of the nerve trunk, within the sciatic nerve. So it just depends upon where it pinches. Does it end up causing you more pain? Does it cause you a little pain? Does it cause you numbness, tingling? So I'm sure sometimes you've already had where you end up feeling like you have a cold foot and you're sweating, or your hands could be cold and sweating. So there are 2 different types of nerves going on. You say, well, I shouldn't be sweating and be cold. I should be hot. Right. But you can end up affecting the circulation, which affects and causes a cold.
And so you're located here in Mount Joy, but you're seeing patients from all around our district, around the 98th Legislative District, which I represent. But you're located here in Mount Joy. How long have you been here?
Been here since November 4 of 1984 in Mount Joy. I was downtown and moved up here to the west end of Mount Joy in August of 1991. Okay. I've been here since then.
So you've been here quite a while. So I'm sure you've seen I'm sure you've seen a lot in those years.
A lot of people, yes.
Yeah.
Some people come as far as an hour and a half one way to get here. Yeah. Sometimes a lot of people are referred by friends that way.
Tell me a little bit more about some of the different apparatus that you have here, the different tables and so forth, as you would move from room to room.
Okay, so this table here is a stationary table. It does end up having the drop part where it pops up and then it pushes down. It has an adjustable spring tension, so based upon a person's weight, determines how much resistance. It's kind of like tapping a person with a rubber mallet instead of a steel hammer. Right. And so we get that spring to end up getting things to move that way. Another table that we have ends up being almost vertical. When you walk in and you look at it, you step on it, and you don't have to bend over. It will end up then taking you from being vertical down to flat. Okay. A lot of times when people are in really bad pain, they can't end up bending over. It's like, okay, I can bend this far. So how do you get on a table like this? Right. Or after you're done, you're still sore because you've been inflamed. So how do you get up from flat? So the table then brings you back up that way. We also have a hydrotherapy massage table. Half of the bed is solid and half of the bed is kind of like combining a water bed and a jacuzzi together. It's about 94, 95 degrees. A lot of people end up being so stressed today. As you know, in the last 10 years we've gotten a lot more stress, and so people take time to end up having to relax. And for us to end up trying to move people, it's harder when everything is really tight. It's like, okay, calm down, relax. And so it just ends up going for typically 12 to 15 minutes.
So you'll start somebody on that for that relaxation.
Helps so them to relax.
So there's not as much stress, and then you're able to manipulate and do your job better because of that.
A lot easier, yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
And then we also end up having an inversion table. That's where it ends up tilting you all the way upside down. It's for specialized cases of certain lower back disc issues only. Some people find that it's a type of traction, so it pulls the disc apart, which
so it takes these areas here and
takes the lower part, so it pulls things apart. Discs are actually connected bone to bone, so it's almost like a vacuum. If you put a balloon and you grab a hold of the two sides of the balloon and pull it, it's going to end up becoming narrower, so it's not bulging out as far.
Right.
So sometimes a disc is only bulging part way, and by pulling it back in, it ends up taking the pressure off of the nerve. Talking about discs, statistics are that over 80% of discs, ruptured discs, bulging discs, deteriorating discs are not a surgical issue.
Okay.
They can be treated conservatively, sometimes with chiropractic, sometimes with physical therapy, sometimes with massage. A lot of times it's exercise and stretching. So maintenance for the whole body basically is very important to end up doing stretching. And don't stay in the same posture. Today, one of the biggest things that's coming along today is something called text neck. So from people texting, they're all the time looking down, and if you look at my posture, you see how my head is bent forward, the neck is bent forward. The normal curve of the neck is supposed to curve forward, so we look out. The problem is not that you can't do some texting, the problem is how long do you stay in that particular position. And the longer you stay there, it's kind of the equivalent of you trying to stand on your tiptoes and not move. Or maybe even dance up and down a little bit on your tiptoes but never go flat on your foot. How long will your leg muscles be able to tolerate?
Correct.
So the neck muscles are just so much smaller. And then the weight of the head is 8 to 14 pounds as an average adult. So as you lean forward, 8 pounds is a gallon of water.
Oh, wow.
So you're leaning forward, holding that weight
Right.
out in front of you. One of the easiest things in regards to posture is to end up taking a deep breath. Back years ago, it was stand up straight, pull your shoulders back, which really doesn't change your posture that much. But if you take a deep breath in, you have to straighten up. You cannot be bent over.
Right.
And it's great for the lungs. It's great for for the posture. The shoulders end up falling back to where they're supposed to be. When you're forward, they're also trying to keep from going forward, so they're also pulling you back all the time.
Right.
So it increases the tension that way.
So just having just the simple act of intentionally taking a deep breath every once in a while is
Or a couple times a day.
Yeah, is good for
Yes.
you. That's great. So you're a licensed chiropractor. Explain to me that process.
Okay, so there's a state board of chiropractic that ends up licensing all chiropractors. You have to take a exam initially to become a chiropractor licensed in Pennsylvania. And then every 2 years we have to end up renewing our license. In order to renew the license, we have to get 24 hours of continuing education, which is only education that is approved by the Pennsylvania State Board of Chiropractic. And then we submit that to them, and they allow us then to continue our license.
Okay, and that's every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
And that ongoing education in the field.
Every 2 years we have to continue getting new education.
That's great. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
2 ways. The easiest way is to call the office at 717-653-9176. Also end up having a website, ellenbergerchiropractic.com. You can schedule, or you can request to schedule an appointment. We end up getting back to it periodically. There's a whole lot of information about the office on the website.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. All right, well, it was wonderful being here with Dr. Ellenberger and learning more about the chiropractic services that he offers here in the 98th Legislative District and specifically here in Mount Joy. Thank you for being with us. As always, I'm Tom Jones, and it's a pleasure to serve the 98th Legislative District.